So a common thing that we hear is, we go through this and we talk about, here are all the roles and responsibilities of data stewards, and that you want to have stewards for all these different things that happen. And people go, oh my God, I don't have stewards for all those tasks, and I don't have people who are ready for that, and I'm never going to be able to roll that out. And I want to let you know that it's okay. Don't worry about it. No problem. No one has everyone for every role that's bought in and excited to do it. It is okay to start with a small organizational scope where you've got buy-in. Maybe you just want to focus on this in fundraising, or you want to focus on this to start off in, retention, and then you'll expand out from there because you've got buy-in. And also, if you look around and you say, I don't have a good, functional person over this particular content, or who is a good fit for this role, I think it's okay to take that missing steward role and essentially assign it to the, DG management team or the council, right? To have that, sort of go up the chain until you can find someone to fit that role. Have some sort of person who can say, and maybe they're not going to be able to provide everything, but they're probably going to provide more than having no stewardship at all until you can find someone who fits that role. That, in my opinion, is a better step than saying, I've got a person who, maybe a steward, but they're not on board with it, or they're new and don't really know anything. So, again, you want to put people in a position to be successful in that role. The other thing is not to overthink the approval process. So if you have stewardship processes that you've created for review and approval, sometimes people get kind of really excited about setting up data governance, and they start thinking about including everyone in the world in the approval process. So if someone comes up with a new definition, for HR payroll, if the definition maybe is for, termination date, or that's maybe a loaded one, maybe you would have a lot of people, but let's say termination date is the field. Some people get really excited and say, well, we want to have the data steward over HR payroll to have the initial review, and then we want to have the council do a secondary review, and then we want to have the CFO do a third review, and lastly, we want to have a review by the security classification committee that's going to confirm if it's PII. And there is maybe marginal value for each one of those people, but it is the negative return that you get by having basically all this make work for most people who are just going to confirm, defer to whatever was said before, and also many things that are just sort of stuck, not moving along. So I highly recommend, particularly at the beginning, of greatly minimizing the approval process. In fact, going to the steward alone and nothing else, and knowing, of course, that you can come back and change things. Also related to that, depending on what your goals are, it's not 100% necessary that stewards, to begin with, even have to have approval steps, right? If we talked to a lot of organizations who are implementing new ERP systems, and they're saying, we don't have time for all this governance, but we know that we need to capture this information, and we need to have review, and we need to do these things, but we don't have time for it. And I say, well, that's okay. Let's focus on the content creation and subject matter expertise feedback part of stewardship, and don't worry about approval. So you really only have to engage those stewards if there's questions, but have the ability to engage with them. So this whole slide is just saying it's okay to not have everything ready in every area for perfect stewards. I mean, perfect stewards don't exist, period. But even if they did, it's something you can grow into, and you can allow for simplicity and content creation. Anything is oftentimes better than what's happening now, which most people is just sort of unstructured, siloed information that's not accessible to people. So you can start off in just an area and let yourself grow to the goals that you have.